Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Ramp, here to usher you into the weekend. It is the last weekend of the fair today and tomorrow. Sunday, the fair will not be open. They added an extra weekend, and they're going to be continuing out throughout this weekend. You know, the animals dropped on Tuesday this week, so if you guys want to check that out, all the fair shenanigans and all the fun stuff start happening around noon till about 10 p.m., so you guys want to check that out. This is an annual event, and they extended it a little bit longer this year for the extra weekend. So if you guys want to check that out, you can go to MissoulaFair.org. Let's talk about some things that are happening. The air is so unhealthy, and fire season and everything, so much so that the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the University Corporation of Atmosphere Research this week offered $35,000 for an upcoming event that's going to be hosting the Emergency Partners of Missoula County. This program will be a range of partners, including public health officials, disaster and emergency services, researchers, and public officials among them. So the city and county of Missoula got inspired through these heat maps to be like, let's figure out how we're going to be dealing with this prolonged increase of heat, fire season, smoke, unhealthy air kind of things. And the city and county, along with Climate Smart Missoula, they launched their first of a kind heat index, the temperature map for Missoula County, revealing heat islands, which, you know, primarily are downtown. And Missoula especially is looking to do a little bit more green spaces, including roofs here at the Missoula Public Library. So they're basically invested some money into the Missoula Public Library to extend our patio on the third floor and had a little bit more green, and also even MCT across the street, some of that construction that's been going on there has the desire to put some more green on top of their roofs to maybe perhaps reduce some of the heat that are coming in through Missoula. And so this is, you know, it's becoming a new normal according to folks, and by 2050 heat waves in the region are expected to increase both in numbers and duration along with intensity. So a little bit of that. And this story is a little bit more on this story at Missoula Current. Martin Kidson wrote that story. And as we're talking about news, you know, I have a special segment for my city council today. Instead of having city council, since they were suspended this week, I'm going to kind of do a clip show featuring all those summer camp kids. Before I get into that, let's jump right into some news. The city of Missoula will be finalizing their budget this month. And I didn't cover this meeting during city council, but a proposal of the 3.8% tax increase for the city of Missoula is on the slate now. Homes valued at $500,000 or more will have to pay $6 a month on average more for these taxes, citing utility demand. And frankly, the fact Missoula's a growing city makes sense, but also harkens back to how the county raised taxes recently with the Montana Homestead Act, with property taxes in the state of Montana reducing, making it easier for folks to pay some of their taxes. And so the county at that point decided to raise their taxes in the county, and now the city wants $2.8 million, but has a deficit of $3.4 million for all the expenditures through infrastructure, affordable housing, and streamlining financial management services, as the most systems are going digital, and the most annoying subscription cloud-based software that is worst of capitalism these days. And what I mean by that is that when it comes to a lot of the systems and updated, especially when it comes to the technologies, is that you can update the technologies, but you're still on the hook for some kind of weird cloud-based services to be ongoing. I only mention this because MCAT offers editing softwares, but many of those softwares, along with our own accounting systems, are cloud-based beyond our control. That being said, the county is also proposing a 3.2% tax increase adjusted based on the state's evaluation of property taxes. City inflation has gone up by 3.5%, and the county is seeking to reevaluate the state's calculation, which depends on the property tax values, like I mentioned before. The county last week unveiled the preliminary budget, which is set for adoption in early September, and considers the state's 3.5% rate of inflation. While some figures remain unknown, the county is facing rising medical expenses, which is placing pressure on the budget. Montana did pass a Medicaid expansion during the last legislative session, but it is not competing with the federal dollars that were cut because it was doged to death. The county in recent years also have struggled to recruit and retain employees in certain areas. To address the challenges, the county has invested those positions, including the county attorney's office, the sheriff department, detention center, 911, and some court positions. And if you haven't, and I've been watching some of the government meetings here and there, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that people can't afford to live inside Missoula. And so a lot of these services, a lot of these positions, especially when you're a firefighter, they have this requirement they have to be within 15, 20-minute drive of your nearest nearest fire station for your job. So the county also's general fund will decrease appropriations by $899,000, while Public Works will decrease by $2 million, but the Sheriff Department will increase by $767,000, and detention another increase of $980,000. Health costs will increase by $1 million across the board, according to the county. The county will also seek an increase in road materials, which will also impact county-only properties, which also includes within the city. So most fiscal years start on January 1st, and passage of those budgets are usually held at the end of August, September in some cases. Cannot forget about Helena, because over the last couple of years, the voters were put in on their ears when it comes to supporting their schools, totaling hundreds of millions of dollars for facility updates and replacements. They went forward and they did that. Now the city is also looking to bolster their fire and police department by a $3.5 million levy ask. Missoula passed ours a couple of years ago about the $7 million levy, and on their market to get that additional fire station. Last week I spoke about fire station number 6, basically asking the city to allow them to pay up to $2.3 million for this new property, which is on the opposite side of where Sovereign Hope Church is, just right in front of Lifelong Learning Center off of 3rd. So part of this, the Helena, if they voted to approve this, they would see their tax increases by $134 a year, and their home valued at $600,000 would have a tax increase of $310 per year in Helena, just so they can support their growing city and their fire and police department. People are coming to Montana more than ever, and having an increased population has put a strain on locals and overall cost of living. Heed my words, some kind of tourist tax is not only needed, but should be encouraged, as these small bursts of people traveling our roads, using our services, have been putting a further strain on professionals from across the board, from services to service industries. Montana summers get a flux of people, hunting season, winter recreation, and bird migrations. It's like May and early June tend to be the lighter side of tourism in Montana, but at this point, Montana's history, a growing number of people are looking to set roots in Montana. And of course, we can't forget about fishing, and government officials are limiting fishing access to nearly 30 rivers to alleviate pressure on cold water fish species, as hot temperatures and dwindling stream flows blankets Montana and the broader greater Yellowstone ecosystem. And this story came out of Montana Free Press as Amanda Egert. Since late July, Montana officials have closed the following rivers: Blackfoot, sections of the Blackfoot, mind you, Rock Creek after 2 p.m., Madison, Big Hole, Gallatin, East Gallatin, Jefferson, Upper Clark Fork, Bitterroot, Shields, and Smith Rivers. Yellowstone National Parks announced July 28th that all rivers inside the park borders are off limits to fishing between 2 p.m. and sunrise. Hoot owl closures, which is what they're called, have been common in Montana to prevent fish mortality associated with warm and low water. So make sure you check your local sports outfitter for more information on closures and future closures, which seems to be a guarantee. While closures have hit Missoula businesses hard over the last few years, one family center is looking to break it in Missoula's market, and this is Launch Entertainment, is looking to fill in the void that the Hub left us behind, which closed back in 2021 from pressure from COVID-era pandemic. Trampolines, ninja courses, dodgeball, a mixed reality playground, and a soft play area for toddlers. The park will be located at 1900 Brook Street and will also feature company's Crave restaurant and bar. And yeah, Missoula will be the first business in Montana, and maybe this will launch more locations, but who knows? That's the thing, is like it's just one of those many things that, you're trying to start a business in a town that it really feels like even the rent itself, it keeps on going up more and more. So it definitely puts a lot of pressure in any kind of startups in Missoula without any kind of like corporate big money backing to kind of sustain some of the overhead. So as we're talking about some of the things, we're doing something special featuring those wacky summer camp kids in lieu of city council, which had an off week this week. I will do a deep dive into moments and clips from our counselors and the kids put on the creative spotlight. Next week, we'll be doing horror camp starting Monday, and so MCAT will have some limited operations, but we'll still be open our normal hours, Tuesdays through Saturdays, roughly at various starting times, and most of the videos I'm about to show you kind of devolve into some kind of survival horror based on those wacky teens and young bloodthirsty little girls. I had a lot of bloodthirsty little girls in our last couple of camps. So without further ado, here kicking off your video montage is excerpts from Doc Camp, and here it is.
When I was there, there was a bird. It was about yay big.
Two eagles there, Nigel and Sunny. Beautiful birds. Unfortunately, a giant eagle with a wingspan of 8 feet swooped down, picked me up, and ate me. And then I died.
This is true. Neil did die. This was our first mistake.
It was unrelated to Raptors of the Rockies. It was just there.
And it was really small, and it made me cry because it was so tight.
You know, I really think this is going to be the next Tiger King.
All right, and so there's a little taste of our intros, which, you know, for our intros, we like to kind of keep it all over the place, and this really gives some of the teens and even some of ourselves to kind of come up with a creative intro. And we've had some really creative intros over the past. We've had music videos, we've had some music, some fun things like that. A doc camp premiered on July 31st. That's the premiere of all the videos. Not quite the Tiger King, but a fun intro to camps in general, featuring some of the same kids I taught over the course of the last 10 plus years, especially the counselors. Ideally, I'd like to think their shorts were a string of consciousness, but your next clip will dive deeper into the creative nature of our summer camps. Here's the Netflix-style documentary opening that is kind of been made fun of on the internet just as of late.
Am I wearing this right?
No, you just have to.
This gets the best signal, right?
Test. Is this thing on? Okay, is it in focus?
Am I just gonna look at where you're supposed to be standing?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Are you ready to tell your story?
I was born ready.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a little taste of some of the creativity behind, you know, that's the, as you can see, some of the young counselors are taking on meme culture with some of those high quality documentary style techniques that, you know, always start with a rough setting up, but using that footage to convey the seriousness and mundane of any situation with the use of heavy violin strings in the background. This next short is more about the use of cinema to introduce our camps. You know, one of our camp counselors was obsessed with the scene American Psycho about the business card scene. So he wanted to create it in his own version that kind of reflected our own summer camp. So here's a little taste of this.
Congratulations on that animation, Colin.
Thanks, Neil.
Colin, pickleball?
Call me.
Friday, maybe?
Can't. Gotta res the mall. Noodle Express.
Jeez, the mall? How did a nitwit like him book that?
I'm smelling shenanigans.
New camp. Picked them up from their parents yesterday. What do you think?
Very nice.
It's the structure. That's bone. And the videos are something called stop motion. That's nothing. Look at this.
Would you look at that?
Blender animation. Default cube. Does a flip and then stretches. What do you think?
Nice.
How did a nitwit like you make this?
Donut tutorial.
I can't believe Scott prefers Neil's group to mine.
Yep, and so yeah, just basically using the backdrop of American Psycho as a way of just, but of course, before we jump into some kind of the kids short film, I want to take this time to, you know, thank the counselors for putting their time and effort into pulling off many of these videos the kids have made over the course of each week. The goal of these first days was to focus on creativity and allow them to make mistakes, to try some of our suggestions and just kind of go for it. And the next clips you're about to see is from the movie making camp's Corn Aliens. And so this kind of shows the kind of ideas which some of the kids have, especially just kind of coming out of nowhere.
I think they are real. I don't know. I don't think they are real. In this vast universe, they have to be real. Aliens are not real. Come on. Oh my gosh, are those aliens? No, they're just giant birds, I think. Get him!
All right, and I don't want to spoil that last clip, but there was a little taste of the next clip I'm about to show you. Another example of using these different types of storytelling, very light on the plot, but very clear in desire to basically fire weapons at an invisible force, which just happens to be corn aliens. And why not? For the sake of art, or simply a tool for kids getting excited about putting a series of clips together for us understanding basic editing techniques. That's kind of what it comes down to. This next clip is more or less related to character-driven narration. This is Gorilla Girl from our animation camp. I know it's animation camp, but sometimes we want to branch off and use animation sparingly and use some of the techniques that we have, and I'll talk a little bit more about it after I show you.
Gorilla girl, she's here, there, she's everywhere. Gorilla girl, taken from the jungle at the age of 2. Gorilla girl, she's real cool and so are you. Gorilla girl, she lives in a tree at night. Gorilla girl, she's best friends with a guy named Bike. Gorilla girl, she's airs on Friday night. Gorilla girl, she's best friends to me and you.
Ugh, it's so hot.
Well, why don't you cool off?
Oh!
I'm a gorilla. Stupid gorilla. Doesn't even notice me, a dumb gorilla. If you can get through the fence. It's so fun.
Yep, and so just a lot of fun was had by a lot of the kids, a lot of different parts of this. There's more to this movie, but I wanted to kind of give you an example. Let's see. Essentially, the shot of me going in the water was used with magnetic masks. Magnetic mask, which is used in the software called Final Cut Pro in the computer to essentially highlight the important parts of the video and block out everything else. So it's the future of green screen. So right behind me, I use green screen to kind of convey my image behind me, but that's usually for like live videos. But when you have pre-edited kind of stuff and you don't have the luxury of using green screen at that moment, you can use this special tool within Final Cut Pro to create a kind of like a mask, and then you have this kind of creation of kind of me going in the water. So here's a little taste of that. Again, just kind of give you an idea. And so as you see here, I'm just kind of sitting here, it's kind of hot, and then there I am, the bottom part right here, as I move forward, flip over, see even some of the green you can see around the, you can see the foxing around the green, just different kinds of elements. So this is where the green screen starts, about there, and then throw up and over, right into the water. And then I use a basic effect that allows you to create that fake water look. And that fake water look is something that we've kind of used before. And a kid kind of copied that to make a kid leave in the water from another clip, but I don't have that clip with me right now. Let's see. Yes. The next clip comes up from the animated short from our animation camp. Of course, I feel bad about showing live action videos during the stop animation camp. So I'm going to show one of the shorts. The thing about stop animation is that you can spend an hour, 2 hours on a video that usually lasts about 30 seconds to about a minute. And this is one of those examples of those shorts that last not so long, but we get a little taste of some of the animation that we showed the kids.
Welcome to the amazing time travel mobile thing. Jump right in and we'll see the ancient humans from the past. You cannot blame us for any injuries. Oh, okay, we're here. That looks like one of the ancient humans. Okay, oh run, he doesn't seem very nice. He's aggressive. Oh no, Jimmy! Wait, no! No! No, Greg! No! Yay! Oh, hey there! I didn't see you. Thanks for watching this amazing cinematic experience. Feel free to stand for applause. I love you.
All right, and so there's more of that animation. Not quite the end of my clip show, but a fun segue into a Blender animation. MCAT's through Neil, the instructor who has been working here hard for the sake of teaching workshops on Blender. If we solely did a Blender class, short films would be a lot shorter, and the premiere would probably be about roughly 5 minutes long, because imagine stop animation where you're taking a picture for every movement. Now Blender, it takes a while just to sculpt the model and then create the animation around it, and then teaching the kids how the software. And so we try to do Blender workshops to be a long-term ongoing thing for people who want to increase their skills and do this kind of project. So having stop animation as a means to create short stories via stop animation is a must. Neil's Blender classes are usually Friday nights from 4 to 6 p.m. Every Friday, and then every Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. in our studio right here at the Missoula Public Library. It's not just all entertainment, we also have some educational programs thrown in there as well. Here is some of the videos that we did during our documentary camp.
Nice review. What was that noise? Oh my gosh. Did he fall? No. Oh my god. No. Fell. I hope he's not dead. Get up.
I know some cool facts, so does he.
So a fire lookout personnel, they would be up here, from sunrise to sundown, so do a full day shift. Usually be on for about at least 10 days straight of working. Sometimes, like I was saying, they're remote, really remote backcountry. There's not even a road to the lookout, and so.
All right. Yeah, so that's one of the things that we do. Of course, if you saw this shot, we get a nice swooping shot of the Firewatch Tower at the Historic Museum at Fort Missoula. And yeah, we really want to thank those folks over there, especially Trenton, who was just kind of starting the job a week or two before we had our camps to kind of help with it. And Firewatch is a favorite of those kids every year. We make some version of the over the Firewatch Tower. And, we go to the Historic Museum at Fort Missoula to show kids history about Missoula. And Montana has a collection spans beyond Missoula County. Parts of the struggle of hosting documentary camps is the concept of kids doing schoolwork in lieu of making videos. So it's kind of a bummer, but however, we had those field trips to allow them to get out and about. It's definitely a more outdoorsy camp, because when you're making movies, you're kind of stuck inside controlled areas, and then you don't really film too many outdoor scenes, but you kind of rely on using the space that you have. And that's what it means to kind of doing some of these camps. It's just like, you just got to do it for the sake of doing it. And however, we also have some Kate Davis from Raptors of the Rockies. I have another clip from one of those docs, Kate Davis, Raptors of the Rocky, featuring Sibley, one of Kate Davis's birds who died last year. One of the kids really wanted to do this bird. Of course, you know, since the bird wasn't around, you really couldn't get any footage. So we ended up using some of the old footage for this particular thing. So without further ado, here's a little taste of this video. And then I'll talk more about some of the other videos.
I learned that the bird I wanted to cover died last year. Her name was Sibley, and she was a peregrine falcon. Sibley was named after David Allen Sibley, artist and author of Sibley Bird Field Guides. Peregrine falcons are known to be the fastest bird on Earth, reaching speeds of 200 miles per hour, and really knows how to use gravity to its advantage. I learned that Sibley was one of the most photographed birds in the world. Kate Davis has Misha, the other peregrine falcon who so happens to be Sibley's half-sister. Misha was acquired in May 2022. Unlike the other rescue birds at Raptors of the Rockies, Sibley and Misha are raised from birth. They are considered educational birds. Sibley joined us from Spring Hill Falcons, a breeding project in 2003. She was 3 weeks old when she joined, so she could be imprinted to Kate.
We did her first program when she was 2 weeks old at Franklin School, and I started flying her that first year, and I flew her 7 months a year, every day. And she only spent one night out, and I got her back the next day at Metcalf.
She started eating ground-up quail in her baby playpen in the living room. Sib has impressed many people in her life. Her claim to fame was a star on Ducks Unlimited TV show. She did 764 programs, 962 tours, and caught lots of ducks. She flew 2,500 times in 20 years. September 22, 2025. Sibley quietly passed away. She was in Kate's arms and very long-loved family member. She was 22 years old.
All right. Yeah, there's definitely some of the, you know, for me, it was like I personally was worried about the kids' use of Sibley, and was more of a helicopter parent for this particular program. Sibley was one of those Kate's mainstay birds, education birds, that basically been in the course of many of those lectures and many of those kind of educational workshops. Many other birds were rescued, but Kate needed a special permit related to peregrine falcon use. This camp overall was a great experience for the young filmmakers who spend a majority of the time outdoors, and we only really had that one day to edit, and so being able to try to get all that information, everything together, because as soon as the editing process starts going down and the kids actually have to do the work, that's when things get a little bit crazy. And not to mention, there's a couple of videos we had to just like scrap, just based on the fact that a couple of the kids just kind of maybe did like 5 or 6 different shots, and they're just like, "Are you done?" I was like, "Yep," and it looked like they were doing a lot of shots, but it's like, you didn't really do anything. So it is imperative for sure to make sure that, you know, we have more than enough footage and enough material, but for the most part, this is a learning experience for a lot of the kids to see what they can do and see what we can help them with when creating these videos. Of course, the next following clip is one of our regular camp kids and his Banana Man role. He started about 3 or 4 years ago. Brennan, the great kid who is who's kind of hard to understand most of the time, but Banana Man needs no translation. And so here's a little taste of his Banana Man stuff.
Oh my gosh, okay, we're running. All right, after that delightful commercial, we're right back to
Gorilla Girl and Banana Man.
tasty. Oh yeah.
What happened to Banana Man?
All right, so yeah, little taste of different kind of characters, different kinds of things. Gorilla Girl and her brother are becoming more regular and during camps, and some of the returning kids have made up their minds on what they want to make. Banana Man had his own video this last year, as well as I did a show last week featuring Banana Man, the anime. Full versions of this all are on our video page, MCAT's YouTube page. We have our documentary camp, our animation camp, and yeah, here's a fun compilation of all those explosions the kids lived throughout their movies. Yeah, sorry. Momentum lost, but here it is.
That building's so old, it's on the verge of collapse. Whoa, what the?
Touch. The more. He wins! Diamond. Pew. Rocket ship.
Tasty. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so you can tell that explosion has been used pretty regularly. And part of MCAT Camp is finding additional media that we can download. And what we usually do is we go to YouTube and then we just download the video that usually has green screen, including lasers, explosions, anything that you can type on YouTube and then add the green screen element at the end of them. You can superimpose that to any of the videos that you've kind of seen there. And the kids really like using that same explosion because I literally look up explosion green screen, and that's the one that usually pops up first, and then the other ones are kind of like the secondary ones. And that was about the bulk I wanted to show you guys. If you wanted to watch any of those videos, just make sure to watch out for MCAT Summer Camp 2026. We have all those camps posted. We're gonna have Horror Camp posted next Friday for you guys around 3 o'clock like we do every time. We're gonna show the whole entirety of the documentary camp in lieu of my morning show next Friday. I'm not gonna be able to do the morning show next week because our summer camps are going to be wrapping up with our summer camp series, and we plan to do a Winter Days camp happening sometime in December, right after Christmas, but before New Year's. So without further ado, we have a mini compilation before I jump into my next segment, Pre-Critic. And so here is a lot of the random scenes from over the course of our summer camps. So without further ado, here's a little taste of that.
Okay, good slap. Nice hand posture. Gotta get the palm ready. And you just gotta get a guide. And you rub your hands first. And when you're ready, blow the slap.
Rub your hands, get it all warmed up. Yeah, and you gotta use the palm. That's a very strategic idea. And then just
Let me be a tree on me.
In order to be a tree, you need to be one with the tree.
I get it now.
My name is Antonio.
My name is Bob. I have seen a lot of things that I should do.
Mangoes.
Someone should call the police.
The body wasn't there, so I suspected it must have been hidden. All that was left was blood splattered everywhere. I reassured her as much as I could in this dire state. I went over who had affiliations with the husband in this neighborhood, and I came to my conclusion. 3 specific suspects.
Wait, I just remembered. Since we got you out of the dimension, we don't get sued. Oh,
What
yeah.
do you mean we don't get sued?
Oh, your cousin threatened to sue us, because we lost you.
I don't have a cousin. I've never had a cousin.
Why are you putting that banana at me?
I'm so lonely. I wish I had someone to play with. But not you! I don't think we need to go to this park anymore.
And how does this make you feel?
I don't know. How does it make me feel, Mr. Snuggle Wuggle Ding Dong?
What made you feel this way?
A gorilla stopped my neck 3 times. You was a gorilla?
No, it's wait.
It's a wonderful day in this wonderful country. It's a merriman.
They say that you can't just make a movie about a bird facility for birds. And they say you can't do that. They say, oh, Colin, that's unethical, or that's almost illegal. And I don't care. Shortly after filming, I ate a candy that made my head grow really big and weird.
A little altitude. Back in the days, they used to stuff 60 people in here.
This key doesn't work.
Y'all are cooked. If you face against me.
It's kind of a bore. Have you ever thought just smoking tobacco, reading the newspaper?
They didn't have easy access to expensive restaurants, so they had to make their own food on wood stoves. And when dinner was ready, they'd ring the dinner bell.
A man's ramen noodles were stolen at this park in Missoula, Kiana's Park. It's such a tragedy.
You need to get that thing out of my face. Kyle is not real. And if he was, he's either going to be a loser or a demonic serial killer. So either way, I don't want to meet him.
What the heck is that?
All right, there you go. A little taste of all those fun shorts the kids have made over the course of the summer. Next week, we're going to be having our summer camps, last summer camp, horror camp. But let's talk about some movies that are also coming out this weekend. We're getting Super Troopers 3, Highway Patrol favorite film between DUI and checkpoints on the highway. Welcome to the comedy stylings of Broken Lizard Productions as they pull off yet another movie after being relegated to Canadian-style comedy Tacoma PD. As a cast, back to ruin a large Farva's wedding to director and star Jay Chandrasekhar as he reckons with the growing family with a less appealing future-in-law. Join the troopers new and old as they do their pranks on each other and their pullovers in this comedy that spans over 30 years now. It actually is long time. Super Troopers came out in 2001. Get your leader Cola and get ready for some shenanigans, evil shenanigans, have you. I assume they learned that Farva is good for the main guy's sister and everything works out in the end. Then we have One Night Only. Talk about a one-night stand, but in this movie tends to try to pull a romance over a late-night hookup. So this one is like The Purge, but only for people who are allowed to have sex one night a year. I don't know the nuance of this film except sex is illegal most times of the year, but this one night is the night. This trailer is very coded to be a friendship that turns into a romance that I suppose people who are familiar with these kinds of days of low stake, but made higher through this rule of law that could ultimately block this poor wannabe couple's chances to have that one night stand one night a year. Finally, we got Ice Cream Man, directed by Eli Roth, the guy who did Thanksgiving and all those horror films where, you know, the kind of disgusting kind of horror shock value kind of stuff that he's kind of cultivated over the years. Horror movies these days seem to have the most simple plots. Evil Ice Cream Man, need I see more? In the story about a peaceful town where, you know, nothing could go wrong. And you get ice cream that can turn young children into murderous. And besides, you know, fat and pre-onset diabetes, you get dead. I assume the ice cream curses you and you die in horrific ways because the kids get possessed by him. So it's kids horror. And, you know, it seems like it's a race against time and the main character must save their child from their fate of eating the ice cream before they kill people. Next horror movie will be Don't Go Out in the Sun or The Sunbeams Will Kill You. There's already a name for people like that, Irish. Up next, we have some new programs airing on MCAT. This is some of the media assistance grants that we provide local area nonprofits and civic groups that want to basically capture their events and things that happen in Missoula. And so we've been pretty prolific when it comes to a lot of those. Missoula Housing Authority has utilized MCAT for a lot of these launch parties and different kinds of things. So we have a little bit of City Club. The Dems, also the Missoula County Dems, have launched their own show here on MCAT. So they do kind of a quasi semi-weekly show that you guys can watch. But without further ado, here's a little taste of all the new programs airing on MCAT.
The neighborhood organizing and pressure started over a decade prior to that. And it was started by Bob and a lot of other neighbors who were concerned about access. And it took a really long time. And it was finally built. And as you all know, it needed to be rebuilt like 20 years later. And that just happened as well. But it was all because people continued to put pressure on their elected officials and their local government. So that's kind of where the Free the North Side name comes from. In the 90s when they were running that campaign, Free the North Side was their slogan. I actually have kind of a cool sign from that time that Bob gave me that I was going to read to you all because it's very intense. This just shows how mad people were. It says, public notice. We, the people, hereby declare the North Side to be a law enforcement free zone. In order to ensure our freedom and autonomy and protect our quality of life, let it be known that all agents of the government shall be banned from this zone. West of Orange Street, north of the North Side Railroad tracks, east of Scott Street, and south of the North Side Interstate Highway, in solidarity with the North Side Liberation Front.
Is perhaps, I certainly don't know what work goes into making a referendum. I suspect it's quite a lot, and I know that we've got something on the ballot this year to protect our right to make referendums in Montana, but I would suggest that the easier and indeed the more powerful way to get rent control is exactly like how we did it at Travois, because not only did they get rent control, but they also empowered themselves. 500 plus people in Missoula who are not usually a part of the body politic are now active members in our community and in kind of their destiny, right, as it were, not to be too. In the clouds again. But so my answer to your question is I would love to see that, and I would certainly sign your ballot initiative, but my challenge to you would be perhaps there's a more holistic and a more power-building way to do that, which is to make rent control a reality ourselves rather than waiting on Greg Gianforte to sign something that says it's going to happen, because that's not going to work, right? Not to be too partisan, sorry.
So a couple of facts and numbers. I always love looking at numbers when we talk about zero waste. And so we're going to go back to 2023. In 2023, in total, we diverted almost 57,000 pounds of material from the events that Home Resources supported. Over 48,000 pounds of that, almost 49,000 of the pounds, was collected by Missoula Compost and brought to our compost facility here in town. For us, we really believe that compost is the best option for the waste that we're producing here because it is usually more sustainable to produce. It travels a shorter distance to get to the compost facility right here in town, gets broken back into dirt, and can be reused.
And you can register to vote. I just came from the fair from volunteering for a shift, and there was a guy who came by and he said, "Can I register to vote here?" And we said, absolutely. He had just moved into a new apartment building within town. So there's another plug. If you have moved recently, make sure to update your voting registration and register to vote, because you will need to do that because you won't get your ballot sent to you.
Yeah, and check that absentee voter box so you can get your ballot mailed to you, and you can vote early and get that out of the way.
All right. Yeah. So that's the fair. We'll see you there.
Yeah.
Next.
Missoula County has been very successful in securing these grants, not only when we have been the cause of said presidential disaster declaration, but also taking advantage of those funds coming into the state from other counties that have had similar events. There currently is the funding opportunities for the open Hazard Mitigation Grant Program funds are closed, but Missoula County has 2 grant applications in the hopper. These application windows for this particular grant program are excessively long, and so just managing expectations around the agencies that we're working with to secure some of those funds, it can take up to 18 months. And so we're still kind of in the early phases of knowing and understanding if those 2 applications will be successful.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk about some art that are happening in and around the city of Missoula, because it is First Friday. It is August 7th. The art gallery, the art scene is in full swing. Usually the summer, especially the early parts of fall, are great ways to check out the art museums and the local art galleries here in town. Kicking things off over at the old Residence Inn in Missoula, the Museum of Rocky's traveling exhibit, Residence Inn. So this is Friends of the 1356 is hosting a public exhibition featuring Ron B. Nixon Railroad Photography collection at the Museum of the Rockies and the local railroad artifacts. The exhibit celebrates Missoula's railroad history and the former Missoula Mercantile Building, now Residence Inn in Missoula. So you guys can check that out. It's going to be happening around downtown. Number 2, we got Heather Lepp doing North Country. This is a clay studio of Missoula, and she's an artist and educator originally from Winnipeg, Manitoba. She received her BFA from the University of Manitoba in 2016, her MFA from West Virginia University from West Virginia University in 2024. North Country features functional ceramic vessels rooted in both beauty and practicality. Each vessel begins with the language of the landscape and the weathered imprints of time. She trims every piece by hand and using homemade tools that creates appearance of being handheld. Layered splits between these curved surfaces and atmospheric firing produces finishes that feel softened by time, surfaces that appeal worn as though they have been cherished through the years. This form, the forms remain simple and functional, allowing the tactile qualities of the clay and experience they use these take precedent. So you guys can check that out at the Clay Studio of Missoula. All these events are happening from 5 to 8 p.m. for the peak times in the downtown, and the Clay Studio of Missoula is next to Lowell School, which is just off of Scott Street. First Friday with the Library of Congress's Chief of Rare Books and Special Collections Summer Learning Program. It's a mouthful, but enjoy art market and a special guest lecture from the Montana Institute of Book Arts. Stephanie Stillo, Chief of Rare Books and Special Collections at the Library of Congress, will speak about her work at the Library of Congress and how she engages in artistic books in historic collections, plus local prints and book by the art by Gastropod Press, Inkworm Press, Stray Dog Press, and more. Lecture and artists will be on the 4th floor of the Missoula Public Library here in the Public Library, and this will be happening tonight. We also have Art Harvest. This is a gallery show opening featuring mini works by featuring artists of Luke Osborne, Sage Friss, Courtney Blazon, David Millis-Lusk, and Luca Fellin. Art Harvest is about connection to place, earth, cosmos, and community. It is all about celebrating local food in the form of art, as nourishment in the spirit as in the bodily nourishment provides by local farms and fostering creative interactions with local food systems. Art Harvest facilitates a cross-pollination between the arts and our farming communities, creating connection and celebration of what brings the vitality and purpose to our lives. Featuring information and offerings by Killing Frost Farms, Malay Meadowlark Farms, and others. And this is going to be at the Zootown Arts Community Center. There's also another one happening there. It's called I'm Dying and So Are You gallery opening. This is by Sadie Arnold, and in her artist note, she said, I would like to inspire others to consider the beauty and necessity of death and grief in society more frequently. I fear there are two sides of this coin, the social and ideological framework that Western society has constructed around death, and the physical and natural side of decomposition and the function it serves to our environment. We also have at the artist shop, Pathways Through Nature. This is Megan Hansen. This show features wood-cut landscapes using reclaimed wood in acrylic paint to illustrate how humans and nature world intertwine. Megan Hansen presented her mixed media show display, The Artist Journey, defining the manifesting feelings with gel monoprints, capturing the essence of place, space, and character with the sketchbook studies and exploring form with wood, fire, clay. Vessels created using the atmospheric reduction process. Ooh, a lot of fancy words there, but you're gonna get nothing but fanciness coming from Come Fly With Me at Four Ravens Gallery, local birder and painter Mary Oschlacher. I think I've said that name before, but reading it is definitely a challenge. But you can enjoy Mary's Come Fly With Me, featuring bird portrait inspired by local sightings of feathered friends, paintings from original photographs by Mary and her birding friends. And in her artist note, she said, I revel in seeing birds, hearing birds, learning about birds, and birding with others. As a watercolorist for over 40 years, it was a natural progression to this passion to evolve into painting birds. So enjoy this at the Four Ravens, and it started innocently enough with a town birding event sponsored by Five Valley Audubon Society, and it's on display through August at Four Ravens. Finally, at the Confluence Center, for the month of August, they have Earth Bones, a beautiful exhibition featuring 4 artists, naturalists who highlight the healing power of nature. Each artist uses their artwork to try to capture the essence from the natural world. Casey Burton reflects on the cycles of decay and transformation in her surreal, captivating ceramic. Vessels mourning the passing of time while capturing elusive moments and concentrating in the Memoriam of Memory, so it's kind of like a double word. Painting Errol McNeil and Leela Francis both seek to capture the connection of ourselves in the natural world. McNeil's composition straddle the worlds of realism and fantasy, creating a dreamlike state for the viewers to be sucked into, while Francis uses colors and abstract trees in an attempt to bring the sense of peace one feels through immersed in the woods. And finally, photography by Casey Malcolm and paintings of the Madeline Tucker take viewer as a passenger on the extraordinary adventures into the great outdoors. The healing power of nature, all happening, and this is your first Friday events. And of course, there's all sorts of other events, and you haven't visited Karis Park in a minute. I also wanted to make sure that you get a chance to check out the Out to Lunch in Downtown Tonight. Wednesdays from 11 to 2 p.m., food trucks and music happening in the Karis Park downtown next to the Bear Track Bridge. Also on Thursdays from 5 to 8 p.m., featuring more food trucks and bands, and also having alcohol presented there as well. That being said, we're also getting closer to the River City Roost Festival, which MCAT will be a part of for August 22nd for their Kids Fest, which happens at Karis Park. For those Friday and Saturday in 2 weeks, this is kind of the last festival of the summer before we go into full steam with harvest festivals and homecoming events, including Oktoberfests and German Fest, which, you know, there's 2 October-esque fests featuring Germans. Overall, this is the time of the year is getting a mix between tourism, college kids returning and enrolling at the University of Montana. So we're going to get an amalgamation of all sorts of different people traveling through Missoula. Maybe not so much because of the smoke, but tonight is the first Friday, and as I mentioned, all these First Friday events that I just showed you happen from 5 to 8 p.m. But okay, let's jump right in. Missoula Church of Christ is doing a rummage sale. This is a 2-day garage sale starting at 8 a.m., so they're already ongoing right now. I believe they go into about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Friday Adventure, Sweet House, Creek Falls. This is get out and explore Montana with the new Friday Adventure series. This guided day trips and designed for adults looking to enjoy destinations, light adventure, and social connections at the end of the week. Transportation and staff support are provided, making it easy to enjoy fun, low-stress outing. So this is a nice little outing group for people who want to go out and about together. STEAM, Science and Nature Week for middle schoolers. The Girl Camp will be on the last day of its Natural History Center, so like our summer camps. This is going to be wrapping up their summer camp at the Natural History Center. Missoula Food Bank meal distribution starting at 10 a.m. This is a daily thing that happens at the Missoula Food Bank for people who have any kind of meal or any kind of economic reasons to find cheap, nutritious meals, and Missoula Food Bank is the place to be. Also, lunch at the Missoula Senior Center every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. We also have daily lunch, breakfast, and dinner at the Poverello Center for folks dealing with homelessness. Kids' summer meals, free for anyone 18 and under. This is through the Missoula Food Bank. This happens every day at the Missoula Public Library at 11:30 a.m. Western Montana Fair, everything kicks off at noon and goes till about 10 p.m. Plenty of events, rodeos, animals, and fun. Yarns and watercolor, as always, is a staple of Missoula Public Library on the 4th floor of the Missoula Public Library every Friday at noon on the 4th floor. All Abilities Art Club at base. This is for people living with disabilities and also their caregivers or supporters looking to help out and be a part of their All Abilities Art Club every Friday at 1 at base. Cat Video Festival at the Roxy. So this weekend at the Roxy Theater, the compilation of the latest and best cat videos culled from the countless hours of unique submissions and sourced animation, music videos, and classic internet powerhouses each year across the county. Local theater partner and nearby cat-focused charities, animal welfare association shelters like a portion of ticket sales go to from every show goes directly to local cats in need. Predator feeding at 3:30 p.m. at the Missoula Butterfly House. Young Adults Writers Group at the Missoula Public Library at 3:30 p.m. to bolster some writers. Blender class with Neil from 4 to 6 p.m. here at the Missoula Public Library's studio here at MCAT. Planetarium show at the Payne Native American Center Observatory. They're going to be doing this at 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. and journey through the time and observe the universe. Karaoke at the Jack Saloon tonight, 7 p.m. Jazz Off the Rails at Leaf and Quiet at 7 p.m. Stampede Rodeo at the Missoula Fairgrounds at 7 p.m. Andrea Harcel, a band is going to be at Zach playing at 7 p.m. tonight, so you might want to check out some of the art and some of the music they'll be performing there. MCT will be doing a We Will Rock You featuring music by Queens in a musical cabaret kind of show that you guys can see starting at 7:30 p.m. tonight at MCT, and they'll also be happening Saturday afternoon and evening. Bat Night at Lolo Pass, so anybody wanting to learn more about bats, Lolo Pass Visitor Center is doing a special event starting at 8 p.m. They're going to go hike up at 8:32 p.m. to look at some bats. Blue Collar Band at Union Club to wrap up your Friday nights. And as we jump into Saturday, we have the farmers markets and stuff happening pretty much all throughout the summer until the end of October for you guys looking to get some fresh produce grown here locally in Missoula. We also have another community yard sale at 9 Mile Community Center starting at 9 a.m. Makerspace 10 a.m. every Saturday for anybody who want to have some open walk-in hours and learn more about the Makerspace. Moon Randolph Homestead is an ongoing thing. They usually start kicking a lot of their walking events and stuff like that right before their apple cider pressing during the fall season. So visit the Moon Randolph Homestead. This is one of the few homestead that the city owns for you guys can learn a little bit about history and more. This starts at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. Bookmobile at the Western Montana Fair. So if you want to see the Missoula's own Missoula Public Library's Bookmobile, it'll be at the Western Montana Fair from 12 noon to 6 p.m. and with MCAT and our partners. MCAT Saturday drop-ins every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. We have only a couple more minutes left, so we're going to wrap up our Saturday with bingo at the Odd Pitch at 6 p.m. Free Cycles is featuring Sadie, Sister Sadie. Argentine Tango Social Dance at Hellgate Elks Lodge at 7 p.m. Then Pesky Varmints at Leaf and Quiet at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. Donkey OK Jade at Monks performing there. Karaoke at Westside Lanes. Cash for Junkers. Ryan Coulter at Sunrise Saloon. DJ Chris Moon every Saturday at the Badlanders. So that's pretty much those events. We have Missoula Strings Prevents Sunday Song and Dance at Free Cycles at 10 a.m. You have salsa dance classes at Rocky Mountain Ballet Theater at 1 o'clock on Sunday. We got Blooms and Beyond Makers Market at Jim and Mary's RV Park. Missoula Youth Creative Collaboration through Poetry at Leaf and Quiet at 5 p.m. on Sunday. Bingo at Tamarack at 5 p.m. Jazz Night at Draftworks at 6 p.m. Folk Music featuring Jesse Wells at Kid Ellis Amphitheater. It's a big show at 6:30 p.m. Bart Budwig with Junior at the Zach Rocking Karaoke at Sunrise Saloon, and that's pretty much all your events. I got right through them. We had a 2-minute, maybe a minute and a half rush, but I wanted to thank you guys for joining me and for Wake Up Missoula. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and stay indoors and away from that smoke. It's making me all raspy and stuff, so take care.